We're racking up the years now, aren't we? And those video games, well, they keep on coming, don't they? Well, hopefully. Otherwise, I'd be talking about salmon or like wart treatments or something like that. No, we're all good with video games, and 2006 is another brilliant year for them. So we can all rejoice in that fact. There's some really good games on the screen right now playing, but I'm about to take them away from you to talk about 2006 itself, because I'm a big old meanie, but don't worry, they'll be back in a second or two. 2006 was a bad year for deposed tyrants and animal conservationists alike and their continued existence in the mortal realm. Legendary Antipodean creature botherer Steve Irwin finally tugged the wrong creature's tail in September and was dealt a fatal blow by a stingray, probably causing all the animals in Australia to sigh in relief. With that said, he was an enthusiastic fella and, by all accounts, a very friendly, good-natured chap. R.I.P. Steve. He at least didn't die over Christmas, unlike former Iraqi despot Saddam Hussein, who must have been thoroughly bemused to have been dragged away from his Morecambe Wise specials and turkey leftovers to be hanged by his neck on December the 30th. He famously loved Christmas, didn't he, Saddam Hussein? A few thousand miles southwest of Iraq is the Sudan, where a chap called Charles Toom was forced into marrying a goat after being caught emptying his hacky sack into its hindquarters by the beast's stunned owner. The village elders declared that Charles pay a dowry to the farmer, and he and Rose the goat were forced to be married. This tragic love story was brought to an end by Rose eating a carrier bag the very next year. But at least it allows me to do this joke. Charles Toom's actions, that really gets my goat. Sorry. The Arctic Monkeys launched their debut album to great success, including the ditty I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, which I think Marco Materazzi might have interpreted as looking good at Zidane's floor, as the famous French legend ended his career with a headbutt, a red card and a World Cup runners-up medal as the tournament was played in Germany. In games news, the PlayStation 3 finally emerged with that weird Spider-Man movie font emblazoned upon it like a weird tattoo. And the Nintendo Wii was a huge success despite that name causing titters from us childish gits. The Wii was an underpowered console, and although it sold a lot of units, not many people bought a lot of games for it. But more on that later. Midway released a game based on the forthcoming Spy Hunter movie starring The Rock, only that forthcoming never forthcame, and the game was abandoned in the woods like an unwanted dog, howling away. It was alright, I guess, the game, but it's so weird seeing The Rock on the front cover of a game of a movie that was never even filmed. Sega introduced bestiality into the Sonic world as he kissed a human princess in the substandard Sonic 06. It only encouraged the darker minds of the internet, with the Hedgehog himself being one of the most featured creations on many a Rule 34 website and internet forum. Those dirty, dirty gits. You'll encourage goat husbandry. And now the rules. Look at this fine array of games appearing on the screen. All of them are very good. Unfortunately, they've not made my top 10, either because I've never played them or because I didn't rate them as highly as the other games on the list. I've selected my personal top 10 and they'll be appearing in a minute. The rules of qualification are that this was the year that they first appeared on the first format that they appeared on. It's as simple as that. I may well have played them much later, but that is by the by. Does that make sense? Probably not, but good. Let's go, Spaghetti-O. Hitman Blood Money is everything you need from a bald assassin simulator. I mean, for one, he hasn't got any hair, and two, he kills people. But this is the peak of the series, at least until the franchise's return in the PS4 Xbox One generation. The murder possibilities are expanded in each level, giving you plenty of options to low-key slaughter your hits in all manner of creative ways. These are levels dripping in detail, somber atmosphere, and will definitely put you in the mindset of a cold, calculating murderer. Unless you're one of those already, in which case I hope none of my videos or any of the choices here have upset you. I bet you probably want this game higher, and I do apologise. Drop me a message in the comments just saying my full name and address, and I'll know that you're serious, and I'll take this video off and re-edit it and put it at number 1. Please don't hurt me. It's been asked if games can be art several times, and well, yes they can. This is a very good example of this, is Okami. And not only that, in this game you even do art with your magic dog's bum. It's a lot nicer than most of the dog bum decorations I've seen lying around on the pavements of my surrounding area and the woods, so that's a good thing indeed. Okami is beautiful, it is a visual delight, and this is just one aspect of what is an all-round incredibly impressive package. You are Amaterasu, a wolf god who gallops around a classic Japanese art-inspired landscape. It's a game that takes its cues from the later Legend of Zelda adventures, as Amaterasu completes various quests, bringing the world to life using her celestial brush. Spells are cast using arty swipes of the DualShock controller or Wiimote, depending on the format, that can bring down adversaries, rejuvenated wilted plants, and create elemental effects. It is a very singular game as Okami, a game that has stood the test of time and would be a lot higher in this list if I wasn't such a drooling idiot. Oh, that Mario has changed, hasn't he? He's ditched the wife that brought him his fame and success, that being the 2D platformer, and he's now hanging out with that three-dimensional tart with her big bulging polygons. What a mustachioed tart he is. And while he would return to the extra-dimensioned Homebreaker to great effect in 2007 on the Wii, he still continues his dalliances with his first love via the DS and the new Super Mario Bros. Series. Now I'm done with that tortured extramarital affair metaphor, on with the game itself. Those solid responsive controls and impressively designed levels are welcome nostalgia hits. Across 80 levels, you'll use your abilities honed in the 80s and 90s with great effect, along with a few new tricks that those Italian brothers have picked up in their myriad Bowser-smashing excursions. It's a game that fully deserves its status as the most successful DS game of all time, and is an incredible classic Mario platformer. You'll never forget how good it was with your first love, and neither has that cheating Italian plumber. A game that even your granny loves. It broke generational barriers, this. No longer would the boomers think that your computer was turning you into a violent monster. Well, not until there was another school shooting or 800. Yet for all its importance in not only welcoming older gamers to the hobby, but to introducing motion controls, most of the older gamers have actually ended up going back to garden centre's countdown and getting angry at the world via the Daily Mail. Whereas all of us have gone back to sitting about covered in Doritos crumbs and moving our athletic avatars using just analog sticks. In the end, the success of Wii Sports defined the success of the Wii as a whole. In terms of success, its first game was its biggest moment. And it is a game that is a mixed bag. In fairness, the boxing game and the baseball games are quite literally hit and miss. But the golf, the tennis, and especially the bowling are absolutely fantastic video games. It's simple but so engaging and makes you feel bad that you've left your Wii unloved, uncared for, and under its blanket of dead skin cells. Maybe it's worth doing again, eh? Ask your gran around for a game. Go on. Unless she's dead now, in which case I'm sorry, that was really insensitive. Yeah, I get that this is a bit of a jazzed up version of Outrun 2, but it includes just enough new content for me to define my own rules, partly because I felt terrible leaving it out in 2003. And actually, the 2006 edition is the first time I revved up its engine. I reckon it's different enough, isn't it? If you think I'm wrong. Outrun 2006 was a gloriously old-school Sega game. It features simple yet precise game mechanics, excellent arcade gameplay, courses that make you desperate to see what was coming up next, and a graphical style that is dripping in bright summertime glory. Dripping in summertime glory sounds like I'm talking about sweat, but I'm not, unless you mean the sweat that gathers in your mitts as you squeak over the finish line in a particular stage and make it through to the next exciting Americana-inspired course. Why, it will leave your controller awash with the soup generated by your own skin. Isn't that disgusting? Yes, it is. A wonderful racing game, this. A hark back to a time when we would hang around in dark screen-filled rooms at the seaside only to play games about being out in the sun, like Outrun. What a bunch of weirdos we are, eh? Us gamers. A PSP game about tilting jelly perhaps shouldn't be so high on a list of this type, but I am a strange old duck. The shoulder buttons are used to tilt your autumnally coloured environments, forcing your sentient sludge through narrow tunnels and down hillocks. Loco can separate, change size, and leap about his world as he attempts to return his planet to its former peaceful ways. There's something wonderfully cheery about this game, which is an emotion I generally don't feel comfortable with. Its art style, music, and pick-up-and-play gameplay combine to make for a fantastic half a week of your life, so rub your thumbs all over it, you great dirty git. Manly McManliness, the video game. Marcus Phoenix's harrowing adventures in wall hugging and chainsaw guns feature all the things I was very critical of at the time of this generation, that being brown and grey, war-torn battlefields. They were ubiquitous and I hated them. This game, though, was so compelling and playable that I just cannot deny its place as one of the greatest games of its type. Not just of this generation, but of the history of third-person shooters. It's a violent, occasionally teeth-suckingly tough, brilliant cover blaster, and I recommend you play it. The fourth instalment of Elder Scrolls was when us console owners started to take notice of the franchise as it swanned onto the Xbox 360 looking all sultry in its DLC horse armour. Remember that scandal, eh? That seems so mine now. What a package it was. An open world with a fully voiced cast of NPCs, multiple choices, great use of lighting, the Havoc physics engine. Well, they were all part of a game that simply couldn't be done on the previous generation of consoles. Yes, GTA had large open environments and lots to do, but they didn't have the level of detail and the depth and choice of Oblivion. Next level generational defining stuff. This was the sort of game that would make you buy an entire console. Much like Oblivion, Dead Rising simply couldn't be done on the previous generation's formats. This game featured a lot of zombies, all on screen at once. Out of shape, but still kind of athletic journo Frank West had to survive 72 hours in an undead-packed shopping mall. He would help survivors and he would deal with psychopaths using 250 items to help him survive. Some of them weapons, some of them armour, some of them silly little things, but all of them would make you draw breath for longer and not join the denizens of the undead. It's a game packed with comedy zombie abuse, which I think we can all get fully behind, surely, and there's a fair amount of variety to be found in its various retail outlets. Action photography, extra unlockable modes and moves, and the tense time restriction is going to give you the best experience in the shopping mall that you've had since you were thrown out for sniffing the ladies' underwear in Marks and Spencer's. Oh, wait a minute. That was just me. Bully, or Canis Canem Edict, is my favourite open world Rockstar game, even to this day. Yes, GTA 4 and 5 and the Red Dead Redemption duo have come out since, and they are objectively better games in every department. But there's something about Bully and its setting that I really, really like. Perhaps it's that I'll never be a cowboy in the Old West or a gangster living in a major American city, but I have been a mischievous schoolboy. And I think that really appeals to me. It's relatable in a way that the others just aren't. There's a special magic to Bully that just hits me in the right spot. There's a feeling of, a Spielbergian movie about cycling around the Bulworth Academy and its surroundings at dusk. It's a happy feeling. It's inspired by childhood watching of Grange Hill and Saved by the Bell, all those quaint British games, the small-scale adventures about nobodies like Bin Men in Trash Man or, well, schoolboys in School Days and Back to School. Yes, blowing up armoured cars with a tank is brilliant fun. That's why GTA appeals to people. But you know what else is fun? It's throwing marbles down in a dorm room and then hitting a fire alarm, and then seeing the chaos that ensues. What a glorious game, and a massive shame we never saw a sequel. Bully is probably my favourite PS2 game, and it's certainly my favourite game of 2006. Right then, bog off 2006. 2007 is warming up. It's shaved itself fully, head to toe, from its taste to its taint, and it's oiling itself just enough for us to gain pleasure from it. So, you best get liking and almost certainly subscribing, or you'll miss all the fun. Ta-ta for now. K, thanks, bye.